I don't want to live in a hole anymore. It makes me feel poor.
We are poor, but we're happy.
Comme ci, comme ça. Anyway, the views are better above ground. Honey, I'm 7 non-Fox years old now. My father died at 7.5. I don't want to live in a hole anymore. And I'm going to do something about it.
You make yourself so totally accountable for who you are. You focus on you and only on you to become the best person you could be for others. Because we leave a lot on the table, not searching who we are. And then therefore, you die not knowing your greatest potential.
Courage is the key to life itself. There are a lot of people who are born in situations where they say, well, I'll never get out of this. So they won't. I say to people who say, well, I would like to have done so and so and so. So well, you could have done it.
What I want to say is, through growing up, what I've discovered is that this world is a very vast, a very wonderful and beautiful one, and there are so many things to discover, but the most important journey I think all of us will go through is the journey in ourselves, to find our truth, to find who we are and what makes us happy.
After you walk out this door, you will receive 100 doors shut, slammed in your face. You will have 100 moments that will be filled with someone telling you no, or telling you, thank you for your application, but we regret to inform you that we've chosen a different candidate for this job. You will sit in 100 different interviews and you will not get the job. The reality of life is that we will all hear more no's than we hear yeses. And we will fail a lot, and I mean a whole lot. But what I ask of you today is to not take no for an answer. Don't be afraid of no's. Be afraid of the possibility of a yes that you have prematurely destroyed because you decided to quit before the clock strikes 12.
I've always been told how average I can be. Always been criticized about being average. But I want to tell you something. I stand here before you, before all of these people, not listening to those words, but telling myself every single day to shoot for the stars, to be the best that I can be. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better, and better isn't good enough if it can be best.
If you focus in on being regular, you're gonna have a regular life. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you aspire to something more than regular, you got to go be extraordinary. The difference between ordinary people and extraordinary people is one word, extra. If you put extra on top of ordinary, you become extraordinary. You ain't got to be like everybody else.
Stay green to grow, but stoop to conquer was a phrase that was said to me years ago. Even though you may know a lot, right? But there's something in the moment which you know a lot. If you overpower that moment, you'll miss learning something. Because you can always add something to what you know. There's always a missing puzzle piece to the picture you've created. Always. Right? And you're in a conversation with someone, so tell me more, tell me, and then you add, once you get something, you add to it. So stay humble, but stay hungry.
The worst feeling in the world is to be facing death and to think, damn it, I've wasted my life. And I want people out there to realize that if you're 20s and your 30s, you don't want to reach that point. You don't want to waste your time and become 55, 58, have a stroke, face death, and what have you done? Nothing. You've moved from job to job. You tried this, you tried that with half the energy. You really have nothing to look back on. That's the worst feeling.
You can't just say you want it. You can't watch the video and say, I want it as bad as I want to breathe. It's cute to say it. But when it's showtime, when the sun comes up, you got all the books, you got all the tapes, you got all the access. Now it's time to hunt. And what separates you from everybody else is that when it's time to hunt, you're ready to hunt.
We have been conned into an industrial revolution myth that says authority is in charge and knows best. You must shut up and do what you're told. You must be a cog in a system. And as long as you are doing your job perfectly and not making waves, you'll be fine. That thinking is 100 years outdated. We cannot teach it any longer.
Take charge of your life. Take charge of your health. You're the one that's responsible for it. It's not a requirement of society that you not have a heart attack and take care of your family. That's not a requirement of society, but you must make it a requirement of yourself. Society doesn't require that you build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through. That's not a requirement of society. It's a requirement you impose on yourself to build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through.
So ironically, the one thing most people avoid in their life, hunger, which is caused by being desperate. When you're starving, you become desperate. Think of somebody who's starving on the street. They've got to, how resourceful would you get if your children were literally starving and you had to feed them, right? So the number one thing we need more than anything to win is hunger, which comes from a state of desperation. Yet we're constantly trying to comfort ourselves in the real world to avoid the state of being desperate.
When you look at Adidas, you know impossible is nothing. When you look at Nike, you think just do it. And so I always ask people, when I look at you, what do I think? Excuses. Like when I look at you, do I think victory? Do I look at you, do I think, man, that's a champion right there. That's a guy that I know I can rely on. And when things go south, he's still gonna show up and give me everything he got. I told a guy 2 weeks ago, I said, brother, everybody know what to do when everything go right.
Basically, what you have to do is just look at yourself in the mirror. We are always, a lot of us are waiting for this magical thing to happen and fix our lives. Like, for instance, a lot of things damaged my life. It wasn't just all me. You know, it's your dad, it's your mom, it's your childhood, it's being bullied. It's so many things that we all have a story. We're all sitting back, woe is me, kicking rocks down the street.
Yeah.
We're waiting for some magical miracle to happen for, to get fixed.
You know, it's funny, everybody wants a shortcut, right? That's the most common question people always ask me. Tell me the key.
Yeah.
And there is no magic. It's just a lot of little things you gotta do every day. Success is all those boring, sexy things that have to get done every single day to move the ball forward.
When you're feeling the most trapped and down and nothing can go right, I feel like those are the moments that define you. Those are those character canon moments that are like, what am I gonna do now? How do you respond to that?
There's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours, refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely.
I want to keep doing it every time, period. And to do it every time, you have to challenge yourself and you have to confirm to yourself, not anybody else, confirm to yourself that you're the best, period.
Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever wanna be successful.
There comes a day where being average, being mediocre is just sickening to you. It's just sickening. It makes you want to throw up because you've seen people with far less talent than you. As you're growing up with them, their childhood buddies, whatever else, they didn't have what you had. Yet now they're fucking to become something that you haven't.
It's time to stay focused. It's time to decide clubs, partying, trying to fit in and socialize, rub elbows with everybody so people can stop calling you weird. Why are you so antisocial? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you staying on the basketball court so much? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you out there practicing in the hot sun when ain't nobody else out there? Because I'm trying to get it.
Look, I'd love to sugarcoat this thing for you. I'd love to tell you, look, you can go out here and get rich, do a couple of things. That ain't happening. You gotta get real doggish. You gotta get downright funky if you wanna make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you wanna be ordinary, you ain't even gotta listen to me. Just go on about your business. If you think ordinary's cool, ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations then you're gonna have to do extra.
Of course it's gonna get hard. Of course there's all kind of stuff outside of school that can fuck with your focus. But you gotta stick that shit out, man. Ladies, fellas, come on. It's another level to this shit, man.
You don't get discipline from your parents, from your grandparents, from your older brothers and sisters. You don't get discipline from an external source. You have to get it from you. That's what self-discipline is. You get it from yourself. You get it from you.
Imagine walking out the door a loser. I'd rather die. I would rather die than be that loser guy. Think about that. Do you want to walk out the door a damn loser, or do you want to walk out the door a winner? I'll fight to the death.
The life you want is on the other side of a few hard conversations, and you're living a life you hate because you're too afraid to have them.
I truly believe we are all equal as human beings. If we are obsessed with something and we truly pursue our passion with everything we have, regardless of anything else, if you are obsessed, work hard, put in the time, you will succeed.
Thinking your way, feeling your way, working your way through those things. On the other side, it's like, I don't know who said the saying, but like usually, you're the closest to getting what you want is always the hardest.
Progression, man, is a key to happiness. Always in a progressive state of progress. You stop progressing and stop moving towards progress, then all of a sudden you lose purpose in life. When you're always moving forward and having a belief in something, then all of a sudden what you're doing actually has purpose, and that makes it very valuable.
What makes it hard is your lack of belief that it can happen for you. The fact of it is, though, it's very doable. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're gonna keep getting what you've been getting.
It's always the feeling when you're getting ready to, people give up right before they get what they always wanted to get. People quit and they give up. And I will not be the person who quit before I got what I wanted or what I needed or what I thought I was supposed to have.
Every fucking day I wake up and I don't want to do some fucking shit. I'm like, okay, man, do you want to be a bitch today? Do you want to walk around all day knowing that you could, but you didn't? You have to learn how to get up and do shit when you ain't got no fucking 5K, no 10K, nothing. Nothing exists. Your life fucking sucks. You're in the fucking dungeon. But guess what? I'm still going to get it. Because when that time comes, because the time is going to come, when that purpose is there, you'll be ready.
Confidence without evidence is delusion. The idea that you aren't confident if you don't feel confident right now is okay, because the question is, what are you trying to be confident about? Like, confidence as a word is the percentage likelihood that you have that what you think will happen or will happen.
Happiness is peace. It's not pleasure, right? And everybody thinks happiness is trying to get as much pleasure as you can get. There is nothing more agitating to your mind than extreme pleasure. And it's like just coming to that beautiful state of needlessness where you realize you really don't need nothing.
People should know that you never will be able to go through life without failures. Failures make us learn. Failures make you stronger. Pain makes you stronger. So I think all of that is good.
The best way to contend with problems, with issues, with adversity is action, is by taking action. The more you sit and the more you wait and the more time you spend with that adversity, with the upper hand inside your head, the worse it's gonna get. Something doesn't go the way you wanted it to go, you didn't get the job you wanted, you didn't get the hire, you didn't get the promotion, you can go home and sit there and dwell on it. That's not getting you any progress. Or you say, okay, you know what? Let me do a quick analysis. Why didn't I get that promotion? Oh, it's because I didn't get this qualification, or I hadn't jumped through this gate. Okay, cool. Let me look into how do I get to jump through that gate so next time I will get the promotion, and you start taking action.
When you figure out who you are and what you want to do, and you devote your life to it like a maniac, like you're all in on this thing, and you manifest, most of these people end up, doing what they say they're going to do and being who they say they're going to become. It's real. And there's no excuses. There's no fucking days off. There's no not willing to grind and everybody's against me and this didn't happen for me because of this and that and all this whining and puss-ass bullshit that a lot of people do these days. These people who dive in and they're hardcore and they're focused and they know what they want, they know who they are, and they lay out these short-term goals and this roadmap on how to get there. Most of those people make it.
You know, because everyone says, well, you should be harmless, virtuous. You shouldn't do anyone any harm. You should sheath your competitive instinct. You shouldn't try to win. You know, you don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to be too assertive. You want to take a back seat and all of that. It's like, no. Wrong. You should be a monster, an absolute monster, and then you should learn how to control it.
There's not a motherfucker that's up. There's not a car, there's not a person. Everybody's in their bed, sleep, dreading that it's a Monday, hate it's a Monday. And I'm loving it. I'm loving that. Where everybody's getting weaker, I'm getting stronger.
If everybody who's like at the bottom and feels like they have nothing going for them, reframe that as, I have nothing going for me, which also means that I have nothing to lose by taking action, it makes you a much more dangerous person.
Every day I wake up, I don't just run a mile, 2 miles. It's the one thing I hate the most to do, and I do it like I love it. 250, 60, 70, 300-mile runs at one time, no sleep.
It's not about the running, the swimming, the push-ups, the sit-ups. It's about what those things do for your mentality. You don't get better on the daggone couch. You get better by coming out here and getting the fuck after it every daggone day.
The only thing that you can do is win so big that all of them constantly compare themselves to you, and then you'll forget they exist. Success is the only revenge. He's like, it's not the best revenge. He's like, it's the only one. There's no other revenge.
Do some kind of workout, eat good foods, clean your room, make a list of things that you're supposed to do in your life, and then wake up in the morning and do those things.
We gotta start in the dungeon, and we gotta stay here for the rest of our lives. For you to become successful, the dungeon is a place that has to be clean. And it's the scariest place to be. That's why I'm misunderstood, because I'm speaking from the dungeon.
Every day is just constant improvement, constant curiosity, constantly getting better. The results don't really matter. It's the figuring out that matters.
And it wasn't like someone came around and said, hey man, you can do this. This is all me. Some people know, where's this cold man come from? I'm not trying to be cold. It's the reality of my life. It's the reality of a lot of people's life. I don't drink coffee. I don't do none of that. I don't need it. I can run for 70 hours, and I had before. No caffeine. I got all this wonderful shit that I overcame on my own, by myself, in the darkness.
And no, it is not easy. But you're not going to get it from anyone else but you. And it's worth it. And it is the thing that is going to bring you freedom.
Because the world has become so comfortable, we're having to go out of our way to actively seek discomfort. We inject it into our lives. We artificially inseminate it into our lives without training and hot and cold and meditation and all of the other things that we do, reading, doing deep work, all of those stuff. Without that, if you didn't actively go and seek it, you could easily just breeze through life.
Now, the only place to go from failure is to win. You have to achieve failure. You have to take it that far. Nobody wants to go that far. It's too scary. But you know something? I got news for you. That's where winning is. It always has been.
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
I hear the clock ticking. That's what I hear. And the end is nigh, and time waits for no man. Life goes by, and it goes by quick. Don't waste those years. Don't waste them. Live them.
The question is, will you put in the time? Clock's ticking.
Fight that ticking clock with everything you got. So at the end of a hard day, you can put your head down with ease.